What if I told you that some of the biggest advertisers in the world, Coca-Cola, Nike, Procter& and Gamble, have been paying tens of millions of dollars a year for a service that doesn't actually do anything? I don't mean it's ineffective. I don't mean it's overpriced. I mean the technical work they're paying for, someone else is doing it for free. And the company charging them is just forwarding the receipt. And this is the story of verification tax, a quiet industry wide scam hiding in plain sight. And it's the story of a company called Zephyr that just detonated a bomb in the middle of a $20 billion industry by saying five simple words: we're going to give it away for free. And what followed was chaos. Stock prices crashed, emergency board meetings, the two giants who've controlled ad verification for a decade, Double Verify and Integral Ad Science, suddenly had to explain to Wall Street why their core business model might be built on a lie. But to understand how we got here, you need to understand something darker, something about the places where you spend your digital life: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and why the companies running those platforms really don't want you to see what's happening inside. Welcome to the walled gardens, where your attention is the product, the algorithm is the boss, and nobody, not even the advertisers paying billions, knows what's really going on. I'm your host, Vinny, and this is the Great Unbundling. The term walled garden sounds almost pleasant, doesn't it? Gardens are nice, walls keep out the bad stuff. What's the problem? The problem is that it's not a garden, it's a prison, and you're not the gardener, you're the crop. Let me explain. The phrase actually comes from telephone industry. Back in the old days, AT&T, the Bell system, owned everything. They owned the phone in your house, they owned the wires, they owned the switches. You couldn't just buy a phone and plug it in. You rented their phone, you used their service, you existed entirely within their ecosystem. That's a walled garden. Total control. Now, fast forward to 2025, the walled gardens of the digital age are Google, Meta, Amazon, TikTok, and Apple. They control the platform, they control the algorithm, they control the data. And if you're an advertiser who wants access to the 3 billion humans inside those walls, you play by their rules. Here's what that means in practice. On the open web, say the New York Times website or ESPN or a random blog, an advertiser has control. They buy the ad space through an ad exchange. They can deploy their own code, their own tracking, their own verification. They literally watch in real time where the ad appears and whether a human actually saw it. But inside a walled garden, forget it. TikTok doesn't let you run your own code. YouTube doesn't let you deploy your own trackers, and Instagram won't let you or tell you which specific accounts your ad appeared next to. Privacy concerns, they say, security, latency. We can't let third-party code slow the app. And you know what? That's probably true, but it also means that when you hand TikTok $1 million to run your ads, you're trusting them to tell you the truth about what happened to that money. Now, this opacity issue has always existed, but in the last 2 years, it got much worse. And the reason is AI. Google launched something called Performance Max or PMax, and Meta launched Advantage Plus. Amazon has Performance Plus. These are AI-driven campaign tools. The pitch to advertisers is seductive. Just give us your creative assets, tell us your goal, a target cost per acquisition, a return on ad spend, and our AI will figure out the rest. Targeting, bidding, placement, we'll handle it. Sounds great, right? Let the machine do the work. Except now you don't just know where your ad ran, you don't know why it ran there, you don't know what AI is optimizing for. You've gone from walled garden to black box. And here's where it gets spicy. Internal emails from Google leaked in 2024 showed that executives knew advertisers were furious. They knew people feel like they were losing control. They knew the Power Pair marketing campaign, which pushed brands to combine PMax with search, was being met with skepticism. One marketer described it as throwing budget into a mysterious black hole. And yet, the platform kept pushing because the AI makes them money. Because opacity is power. Because if you can't measure what's happening, you can't complain about it. So in this environment, this trust vacuum, a whole industry emerged. Companies that promised advertisers, we'll be your eyes inside the black box. We'll verify that your ad was actually seen by a human. We'll confirm it was safe. We'll make sure you're not getting ripped off. The two biggest, Double Verify and Integral Ad Sign, combined market of several $billion, the gatekeepers of ad truth. Except, were they actually seeing inside the black box, or were they just standing outside taking notes from what the platform told them? The question is about to blow this whole thing wide open. Okay, to understand the scam, I'm using this word deliberately. You need to understand how ad measurement actually works. Bear with me, this is the money part. There are two ways to measure whether an ad was seen. Method 1, tags, the real deal. On the open web, verification companies like Double Verify wrap your ad in a piece of code, a JavaScript tag. When the ad loads on, say, NewYorkTimes.com, that tag executes in the user's browsers. It can physically measure the ad container. It can see the screen geometry. It can detect mouse movements. It can check the IP address for bot farm. This is real independent verification. The tag sees what the user sees. If the ad is below the fold and the user never scrolls, the tag knows. If the ad loads on a sketchy gambling site, the tag can block it before it even renders. The technology is sophisticated. It's hard. It took years to build. It's worth paying for. And method 2 is APIs, the honor system. Inside walled gardens like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you can't just run your own code, so measurement happens completely differently. Here's how it works. TikTok measures the ad using its own internal code. It determines, using its own methodology, whether the ad was viewable. Then it takes that data, packages it up, and sends it to verification company via an API, a server-to-server data pipeline. The verification company like Double Verify, IAS, whoever receives this data, they might reformat it, aggregate it, put it in a pretty dashboard, and then they present it to the advertiser. But here's the thing, they didn't measure anything, they didn't independently verify anything, they took what the platform told them and passed it through. This is passed through, and it's devastating. Think about it. If Google tells Double Verify this ad was viewable and Double Verify tells the advertiser this ad was viewable, what value did Double Verify actually add? They're grading the platform's homework based on the homework the platform handed them. Now, to be fair, the incumbents have a defense. They say, we don't just pass through, we audit, we validate, we make sure the platform's methodology aligns with the Media Rating Council standards, the MRC, the industry body that's been certifying measurement since 1960. Okay, but here's the counter. The platform themselves are MRC accredited. YouTube has MRC accreditation. Meta measurement program has MRC. The data is already validated at the source. Revalidating the valid data is redundancy, and redundancy you charge millions of dollars for. That's a scam. Let me put the numbers on this. Ravi Patel, programmatic expert at a company called SWYM, estimated that this verification tax, paying for pass-through data as if it were independent measurement, cost advertisers tens of millions. It's unnecessary spend. Tens of millions per year for a receipt. And let's talk about what they're even measuring. The MRC standard for viewability is this. 50% of the ad's pixels must be on the screen for at least 1 continuous second. For video, it's 2 seconds. 50% of 1 second. And you know what that means? Half of the ad can be off screen. It can be visible for the blink of an eye and it counts as viewable. This isn't a measure of whether someone saw your ad. This is a measure of whether the ad technically loaded. Global viewability rates have plateaued around 76%, meaning about 3/4 of the ads meet this incredibly low bar. It's a commodity, a binary yes or a no. And advertisers have been paying premium prices for it for years. So that's the setup. A trust vacuum created by black box algorithm. A verification industry charging open web prices for walled garden effort. A measurement metric that barely measures anything meaningful. The system was begging for someone to call bullshit. Enter Zephyr. Zephyr is not a household name. If you work in advertising, you might know them. If you don't, you've never heard of them, and that's kind of the point. They're a company that was born inside the walled garden, specifically YouTube. While Double Verify and IAS were building their empires on the open web, figuring out how to measure banner ads on blogs, Zephyr was working directly with YouTube to understand video content. They were the first company to achieve MRC accreditation for content-level brand safety on YouTube. Not just is this page safe, but is the specific video frame by frame suitable for this brand? That required a different technology stack, not just JavaScript tags that read web pages. AI that watches video, listens to audio, understands context, nuances, and tone. Zephyr was AI native from day one, and that matters for what comes next. In late 2024, Zephyr CEO Rich Radden made an announcement that made shockwaves through the industry. He said viewability is largely a pass-through metric. The information is passed along for free from the platform. It should never have carried a price tag in the first. And then he said, we are going to give it away for free. Starting with TikTok, Zephyr announced that basic viewability measurement, the thing that advertisers have been paying CPM fees for years, would be free, zero cost included. This is not a discount. This is not a promotion. This is a philosophical statement. This thing you've been paying for is worthless. We are proving it by charging nothing. Now, Zephyr isn't a charity. They're a business. So what's the play? It's unbundling. They're separating the commodity viewability from the value brand suitability. Viewability asks, did the ad load? That's binary. That's boring. That's free. Suitability asks, what was the ad next to? Was it appropriate? Was it aligned with the brand's values? And that's complex, that's nuanced, and that's worth paying. By giving away viewability, Zephyr accomplishes several things simultaneously. First, they remove the entry friction. Advertisers who were hesitant to pay for verification now have no excuse. Come on in, the water's free. Second, they destroyed the bundled pricing model of competitors. DoubleVerify and IAS have been charging for a package, viewability, safety, fraud detection, all wrapped together. By making one component free, Zephyr forces advertisers to ask, wait, how much of what I'm paying for is actual commodity? Third, they position themselves as the suitability expert. Once advertisers are in the door with the viewability, they see the paid suitability tools, the AI that can distinguish between a news report about violence and a glorification of violence, the tools that understand GARM categories, the nuance that keyword blocking could never provide. And TikTok is the perfect partner for this disruption. TikTok is hungry. They're the fastest growing ad platform in the world, but they've got a reputation problem. User-generated content, chaotic feeds, brand safety nightmare. Every CMO is nervous about their ad appearing next to something weird. TikTok wants advertisers spending on media, not on verification. If Zephyr eliminates the viewability tax, the advertiser's effective CPM improves. TikTok becomes a more efficient buy compared to YouTube or Meta. It's a loss leader strategy. Give away the verification to sell the media. And the integration is deep. Zephyr isn't just a third-party tool you bolt on. They're inside TikTok Ads Manager. Advertisers can toggle suitability controls natively. They can apply exclusion list, specific videos, specific creators directly in the platform. Pre-campaign settings, not post-campaign reports. Measurement is moving from something you audit afterwards to something you control upfront. Now, if you're DoubleVerify or IAS, this is an extinction level event. Not because free viewability kills you immediately, but because it kills the narrative that said verification is complex, verification is valuable, trust the expert. Zephyr just said the emperor has no clothes and we are giving away his wardrobe for free. Let's be fair to DoubleVerify and IAS for a moment. These aren't dumb companies. They've built massive businesses. They're publicly traded. They've got real technology, real relationships, real infrastructure. But they're facing the innovator's dilemma. The textbook case. The thing that made them great, measuring the open web, is becoming irrelevant. And the thing that's taking over is walled gardens and AI. And AI is exposing their limitation. Let me give you some numbers. In Q4 2024, DoubleVerify reported $64 million in measurement revenue. That's a core pillar of their business. IAS had similar numbers, double-digit growth in measurement. Now imagine you're an investor. You just heard Zephyr say the measurement stuff should be free, and you're looking at $64 million in revenue that might be built on sand. The markets reacted after a Q4 earnings miss and an acknowledgement that 2025 would be a transition year. DoubleVerify's stock dropped 35%. 35%, billions in market cap gone. And in their financial filings, the 10K, the stuff they have to legally disclose, DoubleVerify explicitly lists platform relationships as a risk factor. They acknowledge that their business exists at the mercy of the walled gardens letting them in. Access that Zephyr is now getting for free. Access that regulators are now forcing open. So how are DV and IAS responding? With a three-part defensive strategy. Part 1, diversification. If social measurement is under attack, go somewhere else. Both companies are rushing into connected TV, the streaming world, and the retail media, the Amazon and the Walmart ad ecosystem. IAS got MRC accreditation for CTV viewability. They're trying to stake claims in the living room before the pass-through argument catches up with them. Part 2, move up the value chain. Stop talking about viewability, start talking about outcomes and attribution. Double Verify acquired a company called Rockerbox to measure performance. Not just did the ad load, but did it drive a sale? They're trying to prove they're about ROI, not just receipts. Part 3, AI washing. Both firms are now marketing their own AI capabilities aggressively. IAS announced content blocklist optimization. They're doing AI-driven brand safety for Reddit. They're trying to prove that their AI is just as good as Zephyr's AI. The problem, Zephyr has been doing AI on video for a decade. That's their whole thing. DV and IAS are retrofitting AI onto a tag-based infrastructure. It's like watching a horse and a buggy company strap a rocket to the back. But here's the incumbent's secret weapon, inertia. Switching verification vendors is a nightmare. You've got to traffic new tags, train new teams, reset all your historical benchmarks. The big agencies holding company, Group M, Publicis, Omnicom, have deeply entrenched workflows with DB and IAS. The friction of switching is massive. DB and IAS are betting on that friction. They're betting that even if advertisers intellectually know that pass-through argument is valid, the hassle of changing isn't worth the saving. But here's the thing about inertia, it works until it doesn't. Until a CFO looks at a report and says, wait, we spent how much on viewability fees and it's free somewhere else? The conversation is happening in boardrooms right now. So if viewability is dead as a premium product, what replaces it? What's worth paying for in this new world? Two things, attention and suitability. Let's start with attention. Here's the problem with viewability. An ad can be viewable while the user is looking at something else entirely. Picture it. You're scrolling your phone, an ad loads in lower third of the screen, technically viewable, 50% of pixels visible, but your eyes are on the video above it. You never saw the ad, the brand paid for the impression, the verification company confirmed it was viewable, and nobody actually looked at it. Attention metrics tried to fix this. They're asking not just was the ad on the screen, but did the human engage with it? How do you measure that? Time in view. How long was the ad visible? Interactions. Did they tap, hover, unmute the audio? And increasingly, eye tracking. Advanced vendors use panels of users with actual eye tracking cameras to train AI models. The AI then predicts attention on broader campaigns based on behavioral signals. The average global time in view is about 15 seconds, but that varies widely by format, by platform, by context. And that variance is where the insight lives. In 2025, 36% of US ad buyers said they plan to prioritize attention metric. The shift is happening. The second currency is suitability. And this is where Zephyr is building the moat. Brand safety was the old model. Binary. The content is safe or not. Terrorism, unsafe. Porn, unsafe. Everything else, safe enough. The problem with binary safety is that it's too blunt. It led to overblocking famously. News about LGBTQ issues would get blocked because keyword filters saw the word sex. Legitimate journalism blocked. Meanwhile, actually programmatic content slipped through because it didn't trigger the keyword list. Brand suitability is the upgrade. It's not binary, it's contextual. It's about fit, not just danger. A horror movie trailer is perfectly safe, nothing illegal, nothing hateful, but is suitable for children's brand? A beer ad is legal everywhere, but is it suitable to appear next to content about addiction recovery? This requires understanding context, understanding tone, understanding the difference between documentary about violence and glorification of violence. This is where the GARM framework comes in. The Global Alliance for Responsible Media. They've created standardized categories. Arms and ammunition, debated sensitive social issues, adult content, and risk levels. Low, high, medium. A brand like Coca-Cola can now set a policy. We are comfortable with medium risk on adult content across all platforms. And that means the same thing on YouTube, TikTok, Meta. standardization, but applying GARM at scale across billions of pieces of content in real time requires AI that actually understands video. Not just metadata, not just titles, the actual frames, the actual audio. And that's Zephyr's core competency: computer vision, audio transcription, semantic understanding of video content. The thing they've been building for 10 years while everyone else was just wrapping JavaScript tag. And here's the beautiful connection: attention and suitability are linked. Zephyr's data shows that ads placed in contextually relevant environments, high suitability, capture more attention. A makeup ad on a beauty tutorial gets more engagement than the same ad on a gaming video. Even if both are technically viewable, even if both are technically safe, context drives attention. Attention drives outcomes, and outcomes are what advertisers actually care about. The future isn't did the ad load, the future is did the ad matter. And before we wrap, I want to zoom out because everything we've talked about, the pass through scam, the Zephyr disruption, the attention economy, is happening in a larger context. The walls are coming down, not because the platforms want them, because they're being forced in Europe. The Digital Markets Act, the DMA, is the most significant regulatory intervention in digital advertising history. This designates Google, Meta, TikTok, Amazon, and Apple as gatekeepers, and it imposes strict obligation. Article 6 is the money shot. It says gatekeepers must provide advertisers access to performance measuring tools and the data necessary to carry out their own independent verification. Translation: no more hiding behind proprietary technology, no more trust us. You have to show the receipt. The platforms can't just refuse third party measurement anymore, they're legally required to enable it. This is the hammer advertisers have been missing. Of course, there's tensions with privacy. Advertisers want row level data. User 123 saw ad X. But privacy laws say you can't share that without consent. The solution is data clean rooms, neutral spaces where platforms' data and advertisers' data can be matched and analyzed without either side seeing the raw identifiers. Google has Ads Data Hub, Amazon has Marketing Cloud. These are becoming the new battlegrounds, and measurement companies that want to survive need to become clean room applications and the software that sits on top of these environments and extracts insights. So what does 2030 look like? Basic viewability is free, bundled into platforms at tech fee, or offered by partners as a loss leader. Double Verify and IAS have either pivoted entirely to outcomes and contextual intelligence, or they've been acquired by a DSP or a platform that wants their infrastructure. Measurement lives inside the buying interface, not a separate login, not a separate report. When you set up a campaign in TikTok Ads Manager, suitability controls are right there. Zephyr's integration is the blueprint. Everyone else will copy it or be irrelevant. And AI understanding of video, not text, not metadata, actual video, is the minimum requirement for any measurement company. The ability to understand nuance, sarcasm, satire, cultural context, that's the mode. And here's what I want you to take away from this. The verification industry grew up in a world of complexity and opacity. They monetized confusion, they charged for access, they built toll booths on the roads of truth. What Zephyr did, what the DMA is doing, is exposing that some of those toll booths were collecting tolls for roads that were already paved, for bridges that were already free to cross. The Great Unbundling isn't just about pricing, it's about truth. It's about acknowledging that basic transparency isn't a premium product, it's a right. The walls of the gardens may never come completely down. Google will always have more data than you. Meta will always control the algorithm, but the walls are becoming glass, transparent enough to see through. And in that transparency, the companies that thrive won't be the ones who charged for the view. They'll be the ones who helped you understand what you are seeing. That's the Great Unbundling, and thanks for listening.